Good afternoon and welcome to the third in our webinar series on the Governor of Victoria's Export Awards application support. I'm Collins Rex and I'll be your presenter for this afternoon session. Today we're looking at the question business management and specifically HR and risk management. Tomorrow's session will concentrate on the financial management aspect of the risk management question. So just to recap where we're at with the Governor of Victoria's Export Awards, to give you a sense of how things work and how the process works if you haven't yet attended any of the webinars. It's a two-tier process. So you enter originally through the Governor of Victoria's Export Awards program. If you are a winner in one of the 13 national categories at the Governor of Victoria's Export Awards level, you then automatically become a finalist in the National Export Awards. And those this year are presented for the 56th time and sit under the ambit of Austrade. You only have one application, so you enter at the Victorian level. You don't have to complete another application to go through to the Nationals. The same application takes you through both awards programs, and you can only enter the Nationals by winning at state or territorial level. And similar to the Victorian Awards, there are awards ceremonies and awards programs in each of the Australian states and territories. You see in front of you there the 13 award categories at the national level. They go through from agribusiness all the way through to small business. You can go through those at your leisure once you have a look at the website. However, I just want to point out that some of the categories are cross-cut categories. So a category like agribusiness and digital technologies, for example, is a sectorial category, but then a category like small business, regional exporter, and e-commerce are in fact cross-cut categories. So you can be a business services exporter, but be based in regional Victoria and therefore also qualify for a regional exporter award. Similarly, you can be a small business and in any one of the sectorial categories, or you can be an emerging exporter in any one of those categories, for example. The thing to note is that you can enter in multiple categories, but you can only win in one. So choose the categories or the category in which you think you have most chance of success. Victoria also has 3 specific Victorian categories. There's the Victorian Exporter of the Year, and that Exporter of the Year award is drawn from the winners of all the 13 national categories. The Victorian Export Award for Innovation Excellence is an award that you cannot specifically enter. That award is done on recommendation by the judges in each of the individual categories. So the judges, as they go through applications, single out those entries that they believe have merit in the innovation space, and they then put those forward to be judged separately in an Innovation Excellence category. The third Victorian-only category is the Victorian Women in International Business Award, and for this one you do enter individually and specifically, and there is an additional information piece that is required if you are choosing to enter this category. Very important to note that obviously this category can only be entered if it is a woman driving the export component of your business, and that woman needs not necessarily be the CEO or the owner, but needs to be absolutely instrumental in the export side of your business. And that woman then is recognized individually over and above whichever other award you may have entered for the awards. 5 sections in the award application, running through from executive summary through about the business and its product and services, international business strategy, business management, which includes financial management and data, and international business planning and direction. Now, in the previous 2 webinars, we've covered off the executive summary and about the business and its products. And yesterday, we also looked at the international business strategy. So today, we're going to start looking at business management and we'll finalise business management tomorrow, and on Friday we'll be focusing on international business planning and direction. Important throughout the process of completing your application to understand what it is that you as a business do well, and to present this in language that the judges understand, bearing in mind that not every judge is going to be a specific expert in the sector that you've chosen, and they certainly are not an expert in your business. So don't use all sorts of language that the judges may not be familiar with. Make it as easy as possible for them to understand and assess your application. So let's get straight into today's specific session, which is the question business management. The business management question overall, so all the different components, add up to a 25% weighting in the score that you need to complete the application. 4.1 is all about human resources, and there are a couple of aspects to this question. First of all, you have to provide the number of employees over the past 3 years that you employ in total, and the number of employees that you have that are involved in the international business component of your company. Once you've entered the table, and you can see the table in front of you there, you will then have the system auto-calculate the percentage of the employees that are involved in your international business aspect. Now, it is important to use all the figures, so every employee that has anything to do with the export side of your business, even if they are not 100% involved in export. So don't just think in terms of export managers or overseas salespeople, for example. Think of all the people in your business who have an impact on your international business and list those as employees involved in international business. And in some case, it could be 100% of your employees. So just think carefully about that and make sure that you list everybody. You also, as part of this question, need to identify the human resources strategies that you have in place to support your international business. So here the judges are looking for things like the structure of your HR. So where is your staff based? Is your staff indeed based in Australia or elsewhere? What is the geographical spread of your staff? Any diversity policies that you have in place to enhance your workplace effectiveness? Any learning and development programs that you have on offer to make it more efficient in terms of staffing of your international operation? So do you, for example, offer cultural awareness training? Do you teach your staff a new language? Or do you concentrate on employing staff that already has a diverse cultural background? So let's say, for example, the primary market to which you are exporting or wish to export is China. You might employ a certain percentage of Chinese nationals who can help with language, cultural issues, and so forth. If you are doing anything by way of development of your staff, the judges really look to that as an indicator that you are serious about your international business and that you are doing everything you can to make sure that your staff has the skill in order to carry your business forward. This particular question allows you 200 words. Now, bearing in mind that you are lodging online and the system will only allow you the maximum number of words. So if you get to 201, it's going to cut off number 1. So just bear that in mind and consider carefully how it is that you're going to explain what you do. Now, once you've gone through the human resources aspect, the next component of the business management question is all about risk. So question 4.2 asks you to outline the major risk concerns for your international business, your operations, and strategies in place to manage the risk. Now, here the judges are looking to see that you are realistic about your international business, that you have identified risk factors, and that you then have strategies in place to mitigate and manage those risks. You are allowed 400 words in this section, and you can see but compared to your human resources, it's double the amount of words. So the judges really are looking here to see what it is you've identified and how you are managing it. So there are things like legal and intellectual property risks. So have you identified the fact that you need to protect your intellectual property? If you've decided consciously and you have a strategy to that effect that you will not register your intellectual property, you need to explain that to the judges because they want to see that you've thought about this. Country risk. So if you're working in markets that potentially could be problematic from a sovereign risk perspective, so there could be sanctions in place, but certain areas are sanction exempt and that's where you trade. Or indeed, it's a country that might be not quite as stable as one would hope, and things like nationalisation of assets and so forth could be an issue. You need to have identified those and have a strategy in place to manage that risk should it become a problem for you. We are looking at things like production quality, service quality. So how do you ensure that you can maintain the production levels that your customers require of you? How do you make sure that your quality is of a standard that your customer expects from you, particularly if you are dealing with some component of your manufacturing which is not in Australia? So perhaps you are importing some crucial component, doing the majority of the work here, but how do you manage that offshore issue? Also, distribution. How do you see to it that your product gets into the hands of your customer in the form in which you would like it to get there at the quality level that you and your customer expect? So please do not gloss over this question. We do sometimes speak to companies who tell us that they have no risks at all. Well, clearly that's not true. Every business has risks, and international business, the risks are just amplified. You might also find that there are different risks for different markets. So you might have anticipated certain risks in China, for example, that are completely different from risks in the United States, and you need to make that clear to the judges. They need to see that you've thought these things through and that you're not going to have something which crops up and ends up destroying your business, which clearly means that your export business will then no longer exist. Now, in tomorrow's webinar, we're going to look specifically at financial management, including financial risk. So you don't need to include that in any great detail in this question because you will have an opportunity in later questions to talk specifically about financial risk and indeed the financial management of your business. So moving on to some general issues around the Governor of Victoria's Export Awards, some key dates, and you see them there. Applications close on Thursday, the 28th of June. They close at close of business, which you can take to mean 5 p.m. Please remember that you will be lodging your application online. Online systems are notorious for causing trouble, so do not leave the lodging of your application to the last minute. Make sure that you allow enough time so that if there is a problem, you have the time to deal with that problem and to address it and not miss the deadline. Now, in the past, there have from time to time been extensions to that deadline, but please do not expect that there will be an extension this year. Aim to have your application in and lodged no later than COB on the 28th of June, and if possible, do it well in advance. Once you've completed it, lodge it and move on. The Victorian Awards ceremony is on Friday, the 14th of September. All entries into the awards are invited to attend the awards ceremony. It's a fabulous night. It happens at Government House. It's a really good opportunity to network with other exporters, with government, with industry, etc. And of course, to have a sticky beak at Government House. If you are a winner at one of those 13 national category levels, you will also be invited to attend on Tuesday, the 4th of December, the National Awards ceremony. That one moves around from state to state. We don't yet know where it will be this year, but that will be announced soon. So keep an eye on your inbox and you'll get the information about the National Awards ceremony. Couple of people that you need to be aware of in terms of contacts for your Export Awards entry. Both these contacts are with the Department of Economic Development, Jobs, Transport and Resources at the state government. This is the department that runs the awards. So if you have any technical issues around the awards, so specific questions around how things might work, particularly issues around lodgement, access to the online system, etc., your first point of call is Carol Tobolov, and you've got Carol's contact details in front of you there. Carol will be able to assist you with all those technical issues. Carol is also keeping a list of available slots for one-on-one coaching if you need some specific help with your actual completion of the application. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. If Carol isn't available, feel free to also contact Fiona Cheng, and again, Fiona's details are in front of you there. Where do you apply? Well, that's the address there, exportaward.com.au/vic. Each one of the state and territories has a similar awards program. They all sit under the Austrade ambit, which is the Austrade website, and that is where the applications are lodged. So you'll start with the general thing and you'll work your way through to Victoria. Now, the State Government of Victoria, in addition to these webinars and face-to-face workshop, which we've already held, are making available my services to assist companies with one-on-one help when it comes to completing the application. That doesn't mean the application will be written for you, but it does mean that I can talk you through some sticky points, give you some hints and tips, anything that isn't entirely clear as to how this applies to your business or what it is that you might emphasize, etc. I'll be able to assist you with that, and we can do it either face-to-face or we can do it over the phone. But Carol Tobolov, whose contact details you have, is keeping the register of what we do and how we do it. You've got my contact detail there. That's my email address and my phone number. I can be quite difficult to catch. So if you do have a question and you want to send it directly to me, please do it via email, and I'll do my very best to get on to you as quickly as I can. I'm just going to flick back to Carol's contact details for you in case you didn't make a note of those for that one-on-one support. So remember, tomorrow, same time, at 12:30, we're going to be looking at the continuation of the business management question, specifically focusing on the financials and the financial management of your business. So make sure that you tune in for that one, because you'll certainly be given a little bit of background about how that works and certain things that you should and shouldn't include in that financial question. Just one tip, if you haven't already thought of this, when you are completing your application, I suggest that you download the application form, complete it in Word, socialize it, make sure that you're comfortable with it. For goodness sake, run a spell check and a grammar check on it. And only once you're comfortable with what you have written in Word, then cut and paste all the answers back into the online application and lodge it from there. That way you make sure that you get it completely fine-tuned, you get it all sorted out, reading well, etc., before you paste it into the online program, and then just lodge it. Do that as soon as possible. Don't wait until the very last minute to do so. Thank you very much for your attention for today. I look forward to your company again tomorrow when we look at the next part of the business management component of the website. Have a good afternoon. Goodbye.